If you're recovering from hypothalamic amenorrhea and you're feeling torn between resting and moving your body, this video is for you. You're probably asking, will I gain too much weight if I stop exercising? Isn't movement good for stress? Or can I lift weights when I'm trying to get my period back? These are real fears, and in today's video, I'm gonna unpack the science-backed tools that I and my clients use to get their cycles back without quitting exercise, how to do it safely in HA recovery, and all of the in-between. I adore Dr. Stacy Sims, and if you have not heard of her, I highly recommend reading her book, Roar. So many good insights. But I use a lot of her knowledge to back some of this stuff up. So some of her research papers and insight will be included in this video as well. Literally the leader in women's exercise physiology. By the way, I'm Haley. I'm an online women's health and fitness coach and a former chronic overtrainer, and I help women with HA and REDS heal from disordered eating, get their cycles back, get them regular without quitting exercise, and learning to incorporate exercise healthfully rather than completely cutting it out and not knowing how to get back into it after they recover their cycles. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button if you are on a similar journey. Hypothalamic amenorrhea is a condition caused by low energy availability. So essentially your body is not getting enough energy to continue its bodily functions. And yes, that includes digestion, that includes hair growth, that includes your cycle and your hormone production. REDS, or relative energy deficiency in sport, is a prolonged season of LEA, which is low energy availability, and other systems are affected, like your bone health, your cardiovascular health, and your immune system. So here's what we know. Exercise is not your problem. Doing too much of a good thing can create a problem, aka too much of an energy gap between the calories that you're consuming and the calories that you're exporting from your body. And so some of the symptoms that can tell you if you're in LEA or have REDS is exercising, feeling energized, but then crashing later, low libido, anxiety around missing workouts, and of course, irregular or absent cycles. All of these signs are telling me that stress is exceeding your recovery. So in REDS, your autonomic nervous system is dysregulated, and that's where tools like knowing what your HRV are or your resting heart rate is can come in handy, and I'm going to have more on that in a second. So Dr. Stacy Sims is known for her quote, "Women are not small men," and that is kind of her philosophy, and her research emphasizes that, especially for women in low hormone states responding differently to stress. And so here are 3 core principles she applies to women with REDS. Number 1 is recovery focused metrics. So heart rate variability, HRV, and you can track it with tools like Whoop or a ring or other kind of little gadgets. A low HRV means you are in a very high stressed state. And so try and stay out of intense structured training when you are chronically in a low HRV state until it goes back to baseline. And then resting heart rate. A rise of 5 to 10 beats per minute from your normal can mean that your body is still recovering. And these are much better than tracking like your motivation level, because motivation is super high when cortisol is also high, which is not a very trustworthy hormone to be living off of right now because your cortisol is going to be high. And so your motivation might be high. Number 2, reduce sympathetic load. So that includes like HIIT or really intense training that drive your sympathetic nervous system, aka your fight or flight. And so in HA recovery, you really want to dive into the parasympathetic nervous system and getting that going again. So that's your rest and digest. So if you're feeling like you do want to move your body, but do it in a more gentle way, try yoga, try walking in nature with a podcast, or do more of a gentle strength-based workout. The idea here is to reduce, not to completely eliminate. 3, arguably most important, is to fuel around your training. So 30 minutes before you do a workout, even if it's gentle, even if it's walking, make sure that you are having a pre-workout snack full of carbs, protein. So that could be like a Greek yogurt bowl and banana, a protein shake and a banana, you know the drill. And then also post-workout fuel as well. And what this is going to do is signal to your brain that there is nutrients present, and it can come down and lower cortisol, bringing you out of that sympathetic nervous system state. Essentially, it just helps your brain register safety and your hormones can restore. Okay, my knees were getting sore, so now I'm on the ground. Now we're gonna move into the 3 zones of movement and how to move in HA recovery without regressing. Zone 1 is red, and this is when HRV is low and resting heart rate is high. So you're still experiencing fatigue, insomnia, low appetite. So movement should be minimal but intentional. Personally, I would focus on light strength training, maybe 3 days a week, just to keep that in your routine so you're not completely going off the rails and you're like, oh, I can't recognize myself. It's more of a mental aspect. And of course, complete rest will be ideal just because your body is really trying to heal, and pushing it to its extended limits and pushing it to its limits right now is not the best idea. However, I do recognize that there is a mental aspect of it, and maybe toning it down is the best avenue for you right now. And so focusing on nourishment and making sure movement is still fun and adding that fun aspect into it again. Okay, zone 2 is yellow, and it's probably where most of you are right now. And that's when HRV is pretty steady, but you still don't have a cycle. And this is where you can start to add in your walks, your hikes, dance around to some music, maybe add in some more strength training. And it's also where your appetite improves. So you actually want to eat more food and fuel for life and not the other way around. Zone 3 is when you have restored your cycle for about 3 periods. Your HRV and your resting heart rate are stable. You're sleeping well, you're eating enough, and you're feeling really energized to get back into your training. So I'd start with like 2 to 3 times a week, full body focused, 40 minutes, around 2 to 3 sets per exercise, and 5 to 6 exercises per workout. And do like moderate load. You can try and push for failure, but like don't be too stressed out about it. And so allow your body full recovery between those sets, like 1 to 2 minutes, you're resting and making sure that you're recovering. And another point that I wanted to make sure that you're not going to lose your cycle again, monitor these biomarkers: sleep quality, hunger cues, cycle consistency, and mood and irritability. Most women get this wrong in HA recovery as well, that movement equates to self-worth. Movement or lack of movement does not make you lazy. This is a little blip in time in your life and in your fitness journey that you do have to put some intention into rest because you're not used to it, and that is totally okay. Many women feel guilty for taking more rest because rest in our society equates to laziness, or if we gain a little bit of weight, it means that we've regressed and we're now fat and ugly, which is absolutely not true, and your identity is not tied to the success of your job, to your body, to how much you train and exercise. This is not a competition. Another thing that I see with a lot of HA clients is that they're very competitive, and so if they're not being the best or they're not better than the other people they see on the internet, it gets into their head that they're not worthy. But I want to remind you that overtraining, and overtraining specifically without a cycle, and when your body is really heightened in this sympathetic state, it can be really damaging to your long-term health, your fertility, your cardiovascular health, your bone health, your immune system, all of the above. So the truth is that you're not going to lose yourself by not exercising. You will actually find the adverse, where you start to discover things about yourself, like new hobbies. You put your self-worth into different aspects of life, like your relationships, your career, and the actual wants that you want to achieve like later down in life. I had a client named Ricky one time, and she was terrified of cutting back exercise, terrified of eating more. And what we found after slowly incrementing these very minimal baby steps forward, aka making sure that we are pre and post workout fueling our body, 3 full body workouts per week, making sure that we are having that prolonged rest time in between each set to make sure that we are recovering, and also making sure that we have a few days in between each workout to make sure that we are going into that parasympathetic nervous system and really making sure that our body is regulating again. And what we found after 3 months is her period came back, her digestion was way better, her inflammation came down, her skin improved as well, and of course her period came back. With guidance, she was able to recover and restore her hormone balance after not having a period for years. And also find a new love for powerlifting. She has entered powerlifting meets after never ever considering being scared of the gym, and has freaking been thriving ever since. She has graduated the program now, but I keep up with her, and it's so great to see these women thrive afterwards. And also the self-discovery that happens through period recovery is literally unmatched. You have no idea who you can become, and I just urge you to ponder the idea of knowing that you are so much more than just your obsession with exercise and your fit body. Here's your recap. 1. Focus on energy availability over exercise performance just for this time. 2. Use HRV and RHR as guides to know where you stand in the period recovery spectrum. 3. Buy Stacy Sims' book Roar. I swear it'll change your life, or get some help externally via me or whatever coach or doctor that you find yourself comfortable with. And 4, train less to heal more. If you're not sure how to incorporate exercise healthfully, or if you're even doing it correctly, my coaching application will always be linked below. And with that being said, make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment what other content you want to see from me. And in the meantime, have the best day of your entire life.